All right, the numbers are in for on Soleil and Hidden Dunes in Panama City Beach for August 2022. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group and Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices on a little bit of a rainy Labor Day weekend. I'm going to do this a little bit different for those of you who haven't been seeing any of these videos or haven't followed to see that we do a lot of these videos individually for different individual condo projects and neighborhoods. I'm going to start to, over the next few months, combine and do some of these together. So in this video, we're going to go through Hidden Dunes and on Soleil together, just so that we can start to see some comparisons. And I think some people, I know a lot of people, especially buyers who are looking to track the market, are using some of these videos to see what's going on in the different projects. So I want to start to batch a couple of these together. In this one, like I said, we're going to go through Hidden Dunes and on Soleil. I want to show you what's happening in the overall Gulf front market and both of those projects specifically. So let's take a look. You guys know I'm a big fan of this chart. If you haven't seen the video with me explaining this recently, let's go through it. Remember, the red line represents the number of units for sale at any given point. We're picking this up at September of 2020, which is a few months into where the market picked up after the beginning of the pandemic. So supply started to already trickle down. If you were a buyer at this point, think about what that means for you. If you were trying to buy a condo here and you couldn't find anything, the next month you had fewer choices. And then you had fewer choices again, and then less and less and less. And so you really felt pressure from middle of 2020 all the way through the spring of the next year. And you saw that again August, September of last year, all the way through about January, February of this year. A lot of pressure as supply levels were going down. Since January of this year, supply levels were starting to creep back up a little bit, and then they've really exploded since August. But not a huge jump between July and August. We had some pretty big jumps between April, May, June, July. Months of inventory, you guys know this is an important number to track. And let's kind of look at the column here and seeing what's happened. Again, this is the overall market. I want to show you how this relates to Hidden Dunes and on Soleil in a second. So in January, across the beach, now this is the entire Gulf front market. If you just watch the Calypso one we just released yesterday or the day before, I was only pulling Gulf front condos built since 2006. Since both Hidden Dunes and on Soleil are a little older than that, I wanted to look at the entire beach. So these numbers are slightly different. It's the same idea, though. So January, we were at 1.04 months of inventory. And remember what the idea behind months of inventory. It really just represents how long it will take us to move through the process of selling something. Theoretically, seller calls real estate office puts it up for sale, takes the pictures and the videos, starts showing, negotiates contracts, gets to contract, works through the closing process, and we finally get to closing. That whole process is kind of represented in this months of inventory number. In January, across the whole beach, it was 1.04 months of inventory. So theoretically, you would sell your average condo in 1 month. From start to finish of real estate, of someone calling the real estate office through to closing would be 1 month. Very, very hot market, right? We remember that just not too long ago. We've been drifting up. By April, we were at 1.8. By May, we were at 2.4. I know those don't sound like huge numbers, but if you think about it in terms of percentages, they are pretty big. Going from 1 to 2.4 means we're over twice as slow. And then it jumped in June to 4.08. In July, we were at 7.46 months of inventory. So think about that for a second. If it's going to take 7 months to sell a condo instead of a month, some sellers might feel pressured to want to get out of that sooner. That's where you might start to see some price reductions. It's improved slightly from 7.46 to 6.85 from July to August. So 4 to 5 months is neutral, remember. So 6 and 7 months of inventory is theoretically a buyer's market. The longer we stay in buyer market territory, the more likely you would think that we should get some pressure on pricing to actually come back down just a little bit. Interesting to see that from July to August, the market strengthened. So it's taking us a little less time to sell a condo in August. Here we are in early September, but in August, we were selling condos a little faster than we were in July. So the market actually improved slightly. So let's look at the numbers specifically, Hidden Dunes and on Soleil. If you look at the same charts in both of these buildings, since they're not that many condos. There's not much data to analyze, but it's the same idea. You can see in Hidden Dunes, we certainly ran up in inventory and then came back down slightly last month. We're sitting at about 5 months of inventory, so a little better than the most of the market. On Soleil, similar story, not much to analyze. You can see, though, that when there have been units up for sale, there isn't anything currently. They've moved pretty fast in there still. And the main thing I wanted to show you some real pricing just from August of last month. 2 closings, 1 in each building. Unit over in Soleil closed at $1.4 million. So if you hold a 3-bedroom unit, $1.4 million is a very, very viable. I know a lot of things matter, condition, where it is in each project, all that kind of thing. But closing in Soleil at $1.4 million. Hidden Dunes pushed the price up a little bit. Unit 901 closed for $1.16. Earlier this year, we were working on one that just broke the $1 million barrier. We sold for $1,010,000 earlier this year, so price is still moving up a little bit over there. If you're thinking about buying in Hidden Dunes, we've got 2 units in the 05 stack that are renovated that are really, really fantastic. Look for those to come out pretty soon. If you want some information on those before then, let me know. That's it. That's the overview. Very generally speaking, prices are holding. The longer we hover at that over 5 months of inventory, we might see some pullback in pricing, but we haven't seen it yet. Again, August was a little bit better than July. Fair amount of contracts written in August. So the next video I'm going to work on is we're going to go to the east end of the beach, and I'm going to look at Treasure Island in the Seychelles. Not exactly similar or identical properties, but because they're both on the east end, I want to compare those markets and see what we can see there. Compare those to Calypso that we've already done, Hidden Dunes, and Soleil here. And we're going to keep going from there. So I hope you guys find this stuff helpful. There's 7 minutes of data on Hidden Dunes and Soleil for you. We'll be back next month with a little more information. Thanks for watching.